In the United States, the gap between the rich and the poor has been widening for decades. This trend is particularly evident in the disparity between executive compensation and average worker wages. While worker salaries have stagnated, CEO pay has skyrocketed, reaching levels that seem unfathomable to the average worker. This growing disparity raises serious concerns about economic inequality and the fairness of the current system. The Economic Policy Institute reports that from 1978 to 2020, CEO pay at the top 350 firms in the U.S. soared by 1,322%, while typical worker pay rose by just 18%. This stark contrast highlights a fundamental imbalance in how economic rewards are distributed. When CEOs earn hundreds of times more than their employees, it creates a sense of unfairness and undermines morale among the workforce. This disparity in compensation is not simply a matter of market forces at play. Executive pay is often determined by boards of directors, who themselves are often CEOs or former CEOs of major companies. This creates a system where CEOs essentially set their own salaries, leading to an upward spiral of executive compensation that is detached from the realities faced by ordinary workers. The consequences of this growing gap are far-reaching. When a small group of individuals at the top amasses vast wealth while the majority struggles to make ends meet, it creates social unrest and undermines the very fabric of society. The case of Elon Musk, CEO of Tesla and SpaceX, exemplifies the extreme levels of executive compensation. In 2020, Musk received a compensation package valued at a staggering $6.7 billion, making him the highest-paid CEO in the world. This astronomical sum was largely in the form of stock options, which are tied to the company's performance. While proponents argue that such packages incentivize CEOs to deliver exceptional results, critics contend that they are excessive and disproportionate to the value created for the company and its stakeholders. Musk's compensation package, for instance, was more than 1,000 times the median worker pay at Tesla. Musk is not an isolated case. The CEOs of major corporations routinely receive compensation packages worth tens or even hundreds of millions of dollars. In 2021, the top 10 highest-paid CEOs in the U.S. received a combined compensation of over $3 billion. These figures highlight the growing concentration of wealth and income at the very top of the economic ladder. This trend of exorbitant executive pay raises questions about fairness, equity, and the role of corporations in society. When CEOs are rewarded with lavish pay packages while their employees struggle to afford basic necessities, it creates a perception of corporate greed and indifference to the plight of ordinary workers. The rise of shareholder value as the dominant corporate ideology has played a significant role in the surge of executive pay. This ideology prioritizes maximizing returns for shareholders above all else, often at the expense of other stakeholders, including employees, customers, and the broader community. Under the shareholder value model, CEOs are incentivized to boost short-term profits and stock prices, even if it means cutting costs, laying off workers, or engaging in risky business practices. This focus on short-termism has led to a culture of excessive risk-taking and a disregard for long-term sustainability. Furthermore, the composition of corporate boards, often dominated by individuals with financial backgrounds and ties to the CEO, exacerbates the problem. These boards are more likely to approve generous compensation packages for CEOs, even when such packages are not justified by the company's performance or aligned with the interests of long-term investors. This culture of CEO enrichment at the expense of other stakeholders has eroded public trust in corporations and fueled a growing sense of inequality. It has also contributed to a decline in worker wages and benefits, as companies prioritize shareholder returns over employee well-being. The astronomical rise in executive pay is not just a corporate issue. It is a societal issue with far-reaching consequences. The widening gap between the super-rich and everyone else undermines social cohesion, fuels political polarization, and threatens the very foundations of a fair and just society. When a small elite amasses vast fortunes while the majority struggles to make ends meet, it creates a sense of resentment and unfairness. This can lead to social unrest as people grow increasingly frustrated with a system that seems rigged against them. Moreover, economic inequality translates into political inequality. The wealthy have disproportionate influence over the political process, allowing them to shape policies that benefit their interests at the expense of the common good. This can lead to a vicious cycle where the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Addressing the issue of excessive executive pay is not about punishing success or advocating for income equality.